Hi guys, welcome to Die's Crafty Corner. This month's oh so inspired collaboration for the month of July, the inspiration piece came to us from a post on Instagram. You can find the link below. This adorable layout, scrapbook layout, was breathtaking. I admired so much about this particular layout. I wasn't in the market to do a scrapbook layout, so I decided to make a card. And the things that I was inspired by was, of course, the ocean theme, and I love the play on the circles. So for my card, I'm using a top folding A2 size card. I've taken some sheets of paper from this My Favorite Things watercolor pad in the color yellow, teal, blue, and purple. And I've cut them out in a circle that is about the same size as my card front. So from there, I'm going to be taking those circles and I'm going to be using wave dies to cut them out. I'm going to also be using a frame around it just because I think it's going to give it a little more dimension. I'm only using the 2 wave dies and I'm just going to alternate my pattern when I cut it out. So also for this card, I thought I would put in a layer to the card base so it wouldn't just be white. So I made a cloud background using Distress Oxides and blender brushes that I got off of Amazon. I did that in blues and a dark blue that I thought would kind of match the theme of the card that I'm making today. So all I'm going to do for this card is to glue it down with my art glitter glue, which is one of my favorite glues for adhering my card panels or just about anything. See that right there? It gives me just a little bit of wiggle room, and I'm assured that I'm going to get the card in the proper spacing that I want it. I love that stuff. So I've cut this panel out with some rectangle dies, a nesting set of rectangle dies, which is from Hero Arts. They make these infinity sets, and that's where I cut that panel out from. I'm also going to be using a sentiment set from Simon Says Stamp, and it's more of a encouragement, tomorrow's a new day kind of a feel to the card. I'm going to be doing some embossing for this sentiment, so it's going to be on the very top of my card, and I'm going to be prepping it, of course, with my anti-static bag and using the Versamark to use a tacky substance for the powder to stick on. Now the powder that I'm going to be using is the Ranger Superfine White embossing powder, and I chose white because I really wanted this sentiment to blend in to my cloud background, if you will. I didn't want black or gray or anything that was going to be stark up against this card. I wanted the sentiment to be as soft as the card was and the colors on the card were going to be. So I chose to keep it white, and I think it's perfect, actually. I really love the way it turned out. So I'm using a little coffee filter to catch my powder, makes for an easy cleanup, and I'm using my Wagner heat tool, and I'm making sure it's nice and hot before I bring it to my card base. That ensures a perfect heating up of this fine powder without heating it too much to cause it to warp the card or to blur out my words. I really wanted the words to be crisp, even though they're very light. And you'll see it's kind of washed out now with all my lights, but at the end photo you'll be able to see, you can read it, no problem. So I've taken those water elements, if you will, my half circles, and I've cut them out using those 2 wave dies, and I'm doing it every other one. So the top one's going to have a wave, the second one's going to be more of a roll, and then the third one will have a wave. And I'm keeping my colors like teal to purple to dark blue on for my water, and then we're going to build the rest of the card from there. So again, no layers, no tape, no anything like that. I'm just using the glue and adhering it straight to the papers, and these are only papers, they're not backed by cardstock. And then I'm going to be centering it about where I think it's going to be on the card. And you can see by popping that white frame on there, not only did it give me the element of white, but it gave me a grounding point for my scene, which it's a nice little trick to use, whether you're using square, ovals, or rectangles, circles as a window to your scene, if you will. It really gives you a nice grounding point. So we're going to build up the rest of our little ocean sky scene here. Now my sky is bright yellow. That's the way I wanted it to be based upon my sentiment. I wanted this to be a bright, cheery card, but I kept every single thing that I did within the color scheme. So it was either white, teal, yellow, blue, or purple. And that really helps for this card to tie in, even though we've used so many colors, if you will. By keeping everything in that same color family, it ties it all in very nicely. All right, so now I've added my little frame around my scene, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And that little frame is going to be the exact same size as my card base. So that's going to work out perfect. And it's going to sit just below my sentiment, which is also perfect. And now I'm going to decide how to get my little pieces. So all of the little pieces that you're seeing are all little die cuts that I cut out from various companies. So like that sailboat is from Simon Says Stamp. The lighthouse is from Paper Smooches. The little shoes, the little flip-flops that I'm going to be using are from Gina Marie Designs. And the shells are from Memory Box. So it's like little bits and pieces of things that I've gathered up over the years. And I'm keeping it to a very a minimal approach here. So I'm really only going to have 4 or 5 things on the front of this card, but I think that it really shows, it really gives us a picture of what I'm trying to get this card to say. And that is that there, smoother days tomorrow, better days tomorrow, just look ahead for tomorrow, that kind of thing. So, and it did. I really thought the card turned out super, super sweet. Okay, so I've added a little piece of tape to the bottom of that lighthouse just to pop it up a little bit, and I added a tiny piece of double-sided tape to the top of the lighthouse as well. That gave us the only real amount of dimension on this card is right there on the lighthouse. And then we're going to add our little flip-flops going around the kind of right-hand side to bottom of our little window looking into our scene. And then we're going to place a little sand dollar right in the middle of that. And that is really going to conclude this entire card. I think it is stinking cute. Super, super cute. And to glue down those elements, all I did was just use the art glitter glue. For the smaller things, I used the small tip, the fine tip. And for the larger things, I used the larger bottle. Now to add just a little bit of shimmer, I'm going to take my Nouveau shimmer pen and I'm going to color in the shells, the sandal, the thong part of the sandals, my boat sails, and the blue pieces inside my lighthouse. And I think that's about it. And I may go over it once or twice, and that's just going to give me a lot of shimmer. I'm not going to be adding any glossy accents or any other dimension or any other bells and whistles. This is where the card's going to end right here. I'm just going to add some shimmer, and I might add a few little shells on the inside of the card, but this is where this card is going to be called complete. I think it's super cute. I really enjoyed this process. I really enjoyed our inspiration piece. I hope you guys did too. Here are my close-ups. Don't forget to follow along. Everybody's links will be below, and I'll see you next month for our newest inspiration. Bye!